Milan fans everywhere, hey, how's it going? It's your host Shane, calling to you live from beautiful sunny Malaga. My other co-host John, coming from the not so sunny UK, unfortunately, right
No,
now.
no, we were in the middle of a storm.
That's it, not so good. And of course, we're missing Hosni because he's kind of gone out in sympathy with Milan, and he's off because he's feeling a bit under the weather with a cold, so he's injured. So yeah, it's even the Milan curse is hitting us pretty hard right now. But sorry, feel better soon, man. So yeah, bit of a packed kind of list that we got for you today. So I guess looking at the title of the podcast, it's going to be the Milanistas360 match betting scandal or special rather. So it's a scandal if you use it, but so um, this has come from a couple of requests that we've had about how it actually works because John is way more versed in it than I obviously am, but there's quite a couple of people interested in how match betting works. So yeah, we're going to cover that in a bit, but I guess before we get on to that, John, let's cover over some of our housekeeping. So the Milan Sassuolo game. Did you watch it and what did you think, man?
I'll tell you, I watched it. It was so boring that I mean, it's lucky that I stayed awake to see Pulisic's goal. It was a good little assist from Benacer. But my God, after that first half, I was really worried, Shane, that we were in for. Well, basically, Pioli was going to be gone. That I was worried,
Mm, mm,
hoping. I don't know. I never hope for Milan to lose, right? Never. But after that first half, I was really disappointed. I was like, we're just going nowhere. After the entire, after the entire thing about the Super League, the entire thing about the growth decree, the fact that we now cannot sign players because we don't have that tax break,
mm,
all of it was like making me really feel down. And after the Salernitana game, I thought Pioli's lost the players, and now we don't have the finances to be able to sign players in January that are decent. Um, uh, anyway, it was all about the 3 points, I guess, Shane, just to kind of try and stay up there. But I can't really speak highly of anybody in that game. I was so disappointed. It
mm,
just looks like there's no fire in the team at all. But beating Sassuolo. By the way, the other thing was that the stadium was sold out. I mean, that says a lot about the fan base and
mm.
how they just constantly support this club no matter what it's going through. I think that's really, really impressive. Um, we'll talk about this a little bit later because Pioli was asked about this in his pre and post game interview. So,
Mm.
yeah, what about you? What did you think of the game? I know you watched it, but what did you think of it? Because I was sending texts to other people saying, "Wow, this club is."
I think in typical Milan fashion, right, we made it way more difficult than it needed to be. So I mean, if you look at it, right, so if you have Leao, Pulisic, and Giroud, right, um, you know, on the pitch at any one point, that should be more than enough to put this Sassuolo team to the sword.
Yeah,
Like,
I think
and
Leao had one of the worst games that I've watched him play in a long time, man.
he was very poor. He
Yeah,
was very poor. Even like Loftus Cheek as well, just didn't seem to do much for me.
yeah,
Like who I was really delighted to see, and who I just he gives like this is how you know a quality player from just an average one. So when you see Benacer on the pitch
Yes,
and he's just keeping it tight, it's like people don't give him enough credit. I mean, you can see just a huge jump in quality when he was there. I mean, he was stringing passes together. He's being proactive. I mean, I think he got a shot off or two, didn't he as well?
I generally can't remember, but I do
Mm.
remember in my head. I remember thinking after the game, Benny was probably our best player. I remember thinking that and thinking, oh, that's going to be an absolute shame in January then, because
Mm.
there was questions about the Afcon and Chucky and Benny, which one of the two was going to go. As it turns out, Chucky will be available tonight. Benny's gone.
That's a shame. And the worst thing is especially coming back so soon.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, he's been out for most of a year. No,
yeah.
well, not a year, but 6 months.
That will be some serious work into his legs, man. Playing in
Like,
Afcon.
and so soon as well. Like, I mean, you, I mean, you'd hate for it to reoccur because I mean, if it reoccurs at that point, you're probably looking at an injury that can severely limit the career of a player.
Yeah,
So it's not a good time. Obviously, I mean, kudos to him for going. It's well within his rights to go. But I hope Milan has some sort of insurance, you know, because like I
yeah.
mean, it's like yeah. So if you guys hurt Benacer, it's like yeah, well, you can pay us back his market value because we're going to have to get a adequate replacement. But
I just think I don't think he's in the shape to be doing all that traveling, which he's going to have to do. Remember, Afcon is not
yeah,
just one location; it's
yeah,
going to
it's
be
huge.
moving around, and so traveling and then playing. And I suspect he'll be played as much as they possibly can put him in.
You have to because you can see just the class of the player, just how great a player he is. But like it's
Well, yeah, yeah. One of the previous Afcons, he was a player of the
player
tournament.
of the
So
tournament, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, he's clutch, but that's kind of speaks to the quality of the player. But at the end of the day, it's we are obviously not biased towards Algeria.
no,
When it comes to him playing for Milan first, right? Because you obviously
yeah,
want him to show up for Milan. So yeah, it's just I'm kind of a bit living in fear over that. Interestingly enough, though, Berardi during that game, I do recall he got a couple of shots against Mike, one of which Mike had to parry away from it with a great save.
yeah. Yeah, I
Um,
mean, Berardi always causes us trouble. He seems to,
yeah,
but he's just a good player. That's why we've been looking at him for years to sign him, isn't it? It's just too
yeah.
expensive.
You see, the thing is, like people kind of get into this thing with Berardi is they do love mentioning the amount of goals that he tends to score per season, but he's taking all their penalties, or at least he
Mm,
was. I don't know if he still is. So that kind of inflates it a bit.
mm,
But he's still I mean, especially against us, he always tends to play really well. I'm surprised though that he's still at Sassuolo. You
yeah,
wouldn't want him to be a kind of a player that just kind of stays there for his career because the quality is there to now. I don't see him in you know like a Champions League final, but I mean a team that's qualifying for the Europa League. Shout out like us right this season, but like he could do quite well. So it'd be nice
yeah.
to see him
I,
end
I
up
I
there.
think he's a great winger. I think he's a
Yes.
he's a very talented player. It's one of the at least one of the decent talents that Italy has.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so
yeah,
yeah. It's a shame that he hasn't been picked up by someone bigger. But his market value, I mean, it's one of the ones that maybe now with the growth decree, people are going to have to spend locally. So who knows? Maybe it will happen.
yeah. I mean, you could go an awful lot worse in terms of getting talent. I am looking forward though to getting more Italians in. I think because you know it's kind of not the same when you're watching Milan. There might be maybe one or two Italian players and they're on the subs bench. You know,
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the I was saying to her, I think Husney last time is that
Mm.
my main concern is that it feels after the Salernitana game, it felt to me like there were players. We have a squad of players that just don't care enough about the team,
Yeah,
about
yeah,
the
yeah,
of the team and what we are. It felt like there were a lot of players on there. I mean, I'm gonna hate saying this. I'm gonna say his name again, but Tonali, that kind of player that
Yeah.
always puts everything on the pitch and leaves everything on the pitch. It
Mm.
feels very much like we don't have that. Maybe the
Yes.
closest thing is, as we saw in that game, the maturity of Florenzi and Kier in bringing the players together after the game for that huddle. You know.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Interestingly enough, as well, while they were doing that, Pioli was on his way to the locker room. So make of that what you will, but that doesn't look to me like that's a manager that's thinking that he's going to be there for either too long more,
Mm.
or he's probably been given news that's not positive for him. Um,
I think he's only there till the summer, Shane. I don't think he's going beyond the summer. But there's much bigger issues at Milan, which is the most likely thing is that I suspect everything that's happening. This is a question I have for you as well. It's like, where are we going, looking forward? Where do you see this club going with no growth decree in place, which clearly has affected our buying? There's so many um, there are so many rumors out there about we were going to be getting a striker, and suddenly people have said, well, Jovic is actually being from the club. Voices have come out saying Jovic is actually being decent, so maybe we will not focus on a striker at all. And it's
okay,
like, no, no, that's an excuse to me that you now realize you don't have the growth decree. You cannot any longer get a 50% tax break on someone from outside of Italy. So
yeah.
you're no longer going to be able to bring them in. So
So we're just
where do you
filling gaps
see?
at this point. Yeah,
Yeah, and we've got Gabbia's come back. Uh, Gabbia, I looked at Gabbia's record. He's played like 13 games all season in 4 months. His last six game he hasn't played.
yeah.
So this is the guy that's going to save our centre back position, is it? Or are
Mm.
we still looking at players? And if we're looking at players, where are they coming from? What value are they? What kind of quality are they really going to be? Um,
Spot on. Spot
that
on.
Yeah. So Shane, like looking forward, with all of these factors in place, this Super League situation, the loan repayment to Elliott that we've talked about at length. Where do you see um, this? Where do you see Milan going? That's going to be my question. I wanted to discuss with you and Hasni. Unfortunately, Hasni's sick, but
Mm.
um, I'd really like to hear from you what you think we're going with, like the swirling mist around us.
So, funny enough, I think, well, one, I'm quite surprised that they actually ripped apart the growth decree. Now, I understand the reasons behind why they did, but I was quite surprised that they did. I thought I I didn't think it would either be so soon, or I thought they would have had like a light version, and a
Mm.
light version that would have said, "Oh, well, okay, let's do it for every other sector, but let's keep it, the like for football, let's just keep it in place for that." Um, so I think in a way it will work out to be a positive for us in the, well, I think it's going to work out to be positive in the short term, because I think this is just going to force Cardinale to have to sell,
Mm.
because he doesn't, one of his, I guess, his mainstays, or his big thing was using Moneyball and using all these magic algorithms, and his job would have been made far easier by all of these tax breaks from the growth decree. So that's essentially, getting rid of, a huge part of, I would assume, his strategy. Keep in mind then that in 2024, when the loan is due, well, this year, I guess, the end of this year, when it's due, you know, he may say, okay, this is no longer the strategy that I can perform, because, one of the growth decree is gone, it's going to cost too much money, therefore I need to sell it on. So let's just, hopefully we get an investor who's, okay to just tear up the financial fair play rule book, and, get us some serious players. So I think for us in the short term, okay, so when I say short term, this transfer window, it is not going to be a positive one.
Mm.
Is literally, I have a feeling that we're just going to be kind of filling gaps, as you said. So there won't be a new striker brought in who could, potentially be our starting striker for the next 10 years if we went young.
No, no.
We're just going to go with Jovic. Jovic, who has started performing, credit to Jovic. But behind him or in front of him then is like Giroud, who, to be honest, it's kind of hit or miss if he's going to be here next year. So
I would be surprised actually, but he's
mm,
putting in a lot of assists. I mean, he's putting in a lot of minutes. Uh,
Giroud,
yeah, Giroud.
yeah, and like I feel you. But the thing is that I think ironically for me, the fact that Giroud, if Giroud stays,
Mm.
to me would be then more likely that Cardinale is actually going to, he's actually going to try and keep a hold of the club,
Oh,
right?
well.
Yeah. So because I think for me, if he stays, that means that we're just basically plugging holes mode, which
Oh,
is
I
something that
see.
I would have seen
I see.
Cardinale will do.
I
If it's a
see.
thing where he goes in the summer,
Mm.
and then we get in, our established striker, I would assume at that point that that's kind of confirming that Cardinale has gotten his, additional round of investment in, or it means he's going to be flipping the club.
Mm.
So that will tell a lot. Um,
You know something? We did an episode a while ago. Remember, there was like the court case one
yep.
where we were going after Furlani, Moncada, and so on, right?
Hmm.
And one of the things I tried to point out was that Furlani has overexposed us with the growth decree because we
You've
are the
seen it, man.
most. Huh?
You've seen it. You've seen it
No,
ahead
no,
of
but hang
time.
on a minute. Hang on a minute. Actually, Shane, I
Yeah.
thought about this, and it might be the opposite.
Hmm.
So the players we've signed, tell me if I'm wrong. The players we've signed are still going to be able to benefit from the tax breaks. Those are not suddenly going to be stopped and we suddenly have to pay them more.
No,
No,
it's yeah. It doesn't.
it's not retrospective.
No,
So
no.
so that means maybe the point is the opposite, Shane. Maybe Forlani should have bought more players, knowing that there was a risk that the growth decree was going to come to an end. So is the actual fault not so much that he signed 10 players based on the growth decree, but that he didn't even do more because we don't have CDMs. See, it's the opposite.
That could be true. So put it this way, right? If it's a situation where Forlani somehow knew that this was going to happen,
Yeah.
and had invested in a lot of foreign talent accordingly to fill his bags with foreign players, pretty much, because he knew
Yes.
that this was happening, and he knew
Yes.
that they would still be availing of the wage structure, etc., or the wages that they were given, because as you said, it's it's if they're already signed, they will still benefit. It's just
Yes.
newly signed players. So
So
if
what
he's seen
if?
that coming, and if
Yeah.
you know and that's actually the way that it pans out, on top of him not being aware that Tonali was a gambling addict and somehow shipping out Tonali for a huge, for a
Yeah.
decent amount of money, and I would probably then turn around and say Forlani is a complete genius. Either that
Right.
is, or he's the luckiest person in the world.
We are, there's a stat that came out like last week, which was we are the club that benefited the most from the growth decree. We're in Serie A, we're the number one club in terms of savings. Over 20, I think it's over 22 million euros of savings that we're making
Mm,
from the growth decree. So the point was it could be taken negatively, as in, well, in the future, we won't be able to make those savings. So how can we survive? Or
mm.
it could be taken positively. We've actually put ourselves in a position where we've signed a ton of players that if you were to do the transfer window now, you could never sign.
That's true.
So
That's
you can
true.
look at it both ways. And it only occurred to me when I was thinking, hang on, maybe Forlani isn't an idiot. And maybe
That's it.
someone advised him that you need to sign as many players as you possibly can
That's it.
um,
And
within the transfer window.
And it's completely okay to sell Sinelli. By the way, he's definitely not a gambling addict, but it's completely
Well,
okay to
the
sell him.
Tonali thing is something else. But I mean, I guess the blame there is we never signed any CDMs, so the
No,
four
we
two
didn't.
three one wasn't functioning, couldn't function. So I guess that's the big problem. But in terms of, have we done well with the growth decree? We've done as better than anyone else, as in we've utilized it a lot. Now it's gone. It's going to affect us from this transfer window onwards. And I don't really know how much money there is in the kitty to really be spending on players.
And it's going to be severely limited as well, because keep in mind, we discussed this a couple of pods ago about the financial impact of, not continuing in the Champions League. And then
Yeah.
just, even if we go far into the Europa, it's not going to be great for us.
Yes. And the
Um,
other thing to say is the our football federation FIGC in Italy has come out with a statement to say that if any club considers going to the Super League, they're going to be banned from playing in Serie A next season. There's two arguments to that. One is the European Court of Justice clearly has just said that it's illegal to stop competition. Uh, and so you have to, maybe even the FIGC statement is illegal anyway. That's one way to look at it. The other way to look at it is who's got the balls to go against the FIGC and say, okay, well, screw you. If you think if the big marquee teams walk off, will they really be ejected from Serie A? If Milan, Inter, Juve, if those three clubs say we're gonna jump, what is Serie A gonna do?
yeah, it's, you see, the thing is look, it is so sketchy. I think we should actually do a special on that Super League, or maybe the time is gone. But you know what's very sketchy about that Super League situation is that you've heard about the Barcelona Real Madrid loyalty bonus, right?
No.
So basically, because Barcelona and Real have been loyal to the Super League
Oh,
idea, right? For every season that it goes on, that they'll be allocated 10% of the profits.
okay, okay, okay.
So
Sounds
that's
like an inside deal, like Ferrari and their historical contribution to Formula One. No matter that they haven't won a world championship in many years, they still get this historical
this is
payment.
it. There's
I know.
like, it's very dodgy. Like, and if the argument is there that the Super League is just going to help reallocate money across, all
Yeah,
of the bigger teams in Europe, well, is it really? Because that sounds like it's just going to be diverting it to Barcelona and Real, who, to be quite honest, Real Madrid are, I mean, they're
yeah,
not struggling, and I don't really ever see them struggling. And then Barcelona, I mean, yeah, their finances aren't great, but it's pretty much their own fault at this point. I mean, they've always continuously created great talent. You know,
yeah, yeah. Okay. Maybe we'll dive into the Super League a bit more when there are more details regarding what it will look like. There's so many things being proposed. I kind of personally I want to wait and see what they if they come up with something concrete.
I
Um,
mean, if Juve and Inter decided to join it, I'd be
yeah,
like, let's just stay out for a year, right?
yeah.
Let's stay out of the Super League for 1 year, get the second star, and then go, yeah, yeah, sure, Super League, good, fine.
I see. Very good, very good. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I have a serious concern that actually I think that Juve might win the league this year because of
I think so.
Inter have to really focus on the Champions League going forward,
That's
financially anyway.
destitute
Um,
if they don't. Yeah,
they're out of the Coppa d'Italia, Inter.
that's it.
So, um, no, I don't know. I don't know. I think Juve and Inter are going to go toe to toe. I really do. At the beginning
And
of the
to be
season, we
honest, you
said,
called it. You called it
yeah,
at the beginning of the season, and I was
we
like,
said that
Juve.
Juve have no other competitions, and so
Yeah, and the worst thing is it's that typical thing Juve do. Like, I mean, I think I said it. I said it on, I think I said it to you on WhatsApp. It's like if you have a midfield with McKennie, Locatelli, and Rabiot,
mm,
and you're literally like, what are they now? Only 2 points behind Inter.
I think so. I think
Like
so, man.
that is seriously impressive on Allegri's part. I know the football is awful. It's
Yeah.
awful to watch and it's just completely regressive. But in terms of effect, like I mean,
Yeah. They're on
okay,
43 points. They're on 43 points. Inter's on 45.
like and people kind of being dismissive of Allegri ball, right? I'll say this: like if he was in charge of Milan, right, and
Yeah.
we were getting the same results, I could not give a toss. I could
Yeah.
not.
So
It could be the most boring
Allegri,
football.
Allegri came out a few seasons ago saying, look, it's the style of football I want. It's going to lead to a lot of 1-0 wins.
Yep,
And he's come out and said, that is my identity. That is the identity of the football that I play.
yep,
So if we suffer for 90 minutes and we win 1-0, that's the kind of football that's the kind of result that I like.
yep.
So this is my point, isn't it? And it's a discussion that's going on in Italy as well, which is what is Milan's identity? Are we a team that just powers through squads? Because every now and then we do that. We're
We're
definitely
kind of
not
like an
possession.
EPL like team.
Yes, maybe. I mean, looking at the number
Mm.
of players you've taken from them,
Yeah, it seems to be that they've gone for like physical, but the type of players that they've gotten to try and achieve that are, tend to be injury prone. So I'm looking at, oh, well, okay, RLC has been quite good this season. He's been okay. Pulisic, also tended to be, relatively injury prone. So it's like we've gotten relatively injury prone players from a very physical league,
mm,
but it's
yeah,
still, they're built and capable of doing great things in that league. Well, Pulisic more so. RLC, I don't didn't really feature much for Chelsea, but it's just a weird situation. It's like
yeah,
we are becoming EPL light, and then we're trying to translate that then into the Serie A where things are more tactical, and then we wonder where we're getting, drop points to Salernitana.
that is a great lead to Pioli Corner because
Pioli
that's the
Corner.
question he was asked about.
That's a good one. Good man, John. Thanks for
Yeah,
reminding me where we're at. Okay,
yes.
right. Here we go.
All right. So, I've got some really good. So, one of the great things about pre-game and post-game interviews that happens in Italian media is that reporters over there, football journalists, really don't hold back. Which actually they ask a lot of the same questions that us fans want to ask. And if you watch, uh, Pioli post-game does get questions from YouTube and from Twitter put forward to him. So actually, since starting Pioli Corner, and paying much more attention to it, it's actually quite entertaining to see how he is challenged in these pre games. So let's have a look here. So I'm just picked out some of the questions because there's a lot of questions. But first one was the stadium is always sold out. So this was regarding the Sassuolo game, the fact that it's a home game and it's sold out, despite the fact that our form is so bad. And he says, easy response to that, our fans are incredible. And that even at delicate moments like now, our fans are there supporting us. Okay. Um, After the Salernitana game, there have been a lot of voices. This is what he was asked. What has been going on with you and the group? And his answer, this is a stock answer that he fires a lot of the time. We have been working hard with much attention and care because tomorrow we want to put a convincing performance based on our ability and to reflect our quality and our principles, which above all are about winning. Okay. Um, this is a good one. Before the Salernitana game, you said that we have to face the match as if it's the last opportunity for this team. Now, having seen that game, would you say that the game against Sassuolo is actually your last chance? And his answer was, this doesn't have to be the last chance, but every time we play a match, we should be going out there with the concept of giving it our all. During that game, we committed errors that lowered the level of our game. Okay, so let me just try and scroll through to something interesting, something new. Okay, for the first time, you have been experiencing your role really being questioned. How have you been taking this information? Have you spoken to Cardinale during these days? No, I have not heard anything from Cardinale. Last time we saw him was about a month ago. I've had contact with his directors here at Milanello. How have I lived? Working, working hard. Honestly, I've not thought about my future. It's important to focus on Milan. Now, the next question is one that I think a lot of fans have been asking. Can you explain the Ibra situation and his role? We are struggling to understand it. Also, Zlatan posted a photo of himself doing a bicycle kick on a beach in Miami. This has really perplexed a lot of the fans. Maybe Ibra is flying back and he will be at the Sassuolo game, which he wasn't. But a lot of the fans expected him to be on the training ground this week. Pioli's answer: this is a question you have to put to him. But to me, this is an appointment and plan that he had planned prior to joining us. I don't see it as a reason why we didn't put a good performance. So, what has Ibra asked about whilst away? He asked about the squad, how they are training. The same thing we've always done since the moment he returned. Basically nonsensical, really. It's like saying Ibra doesn't really do a lot.
I think Pioli's really lost on being a manager. I think he should be a politician
Well,
because it's
yeah, yeah.
literally it's the most unanswered non-answer that you ever receive. I like he, you never get anything of substance from him,
So
and the only substance you get is when he panics,
when he gets angry
or
is
he
when
gets
you really,
angry.
yeah, you
That's it.
basically have to look at the interviews from the moment when he really loses temper, and then he fires off a real answer. So
Yeah.
someone said to him, at this point, the number of injuries is just incredible. Is there a risk that some players will not play as hard in fear of getting injured? This is a great question, actually, to have asked him, because I think a lot of us are asking the same thing: is if you were a player, first of all, would you join Milan if they were coming after you, if you see those kind of injuries? And the other thing is, if you're a player in the current squad, would you play as hard? Right? And he goes, what are the best things and negative and worst things that you've noticed about the squad? And his answer, he didn't go to the injuries. He says they're training well, but clearly that what I think isn't the most important thing. They have to show on the pitch what they're capable of. Positives, we are creating a lot of chances. Okay, crap answer. So then the next question is it possible that a few more players should be leaders on the pitch? And then this is another thing that a lot of fans have been asking themselves. We don't have leaders on the pitch. And should they be taking more control of the situation? And he says, we can't say, just like it's wrong to isolate the coach, the players, or anyone else individually. We are a group. We all have to improve. Okay. Then the interviewer goes, all right, you're not going to give me a straight answer, so try this one. I want to be specific. Please tell me about Theo and Leao. And Pioli goes, no, I answered you. Okay, but how would you explain how they're playing? And this is actually Pioli's answer. Leao has just come back from injury that has kept him out for about a month. This is especially important for Rafa, a player that needs space to run into. Theo, on the other hand, has always made himself available, even playing in a role that he's not familiar with. We all have to improve, and that's it. Okay. Then someone said, is there a psychological explanation for what is going on? Pioli interrupts the meeting and gets annoyed. And he basically shouts out, I understand that we do not have continuity in our performances. That is our defect. Okay. Then they said, all right, Arrigo Sacchi has come out to the press and said that maybe it's because you have so many new players. And his answer is, Pioli's answer is, the new players are great. They have our spirit, but it's normal that it needs time to adapt. From all the different leagues they have come from, I don't know if they're familiar. I don't know if they're all from better leagues. So Shane, to your point, he starts naming every single league that the players come from. Yeah, you're talking about Premier League, and this is what he says. I don't know if they're all from better leagues, but maybe the Premier League is nicer, but Serie A is more complicated. It is the hardest at the tactical and at the level of pressure. But our problems are that even within matches, our performances can drop. We're concentrating hard on solving these problems. Interesting answer, isn't it?
It's yeah, but it's just that lack of substance that you get though.
Yeah. So the one that listen to this. One of the things that characterized your Serie A winning season was your defensive
Mm,
solidity. This solar year, you have conceded 63 goals. You
yeah,
talk about being compact, but how do you explain this defensive weakness? And Pioli's
and it is
answer,
not a lack of a CDM
you ready?
because Benny was out.
Pioli's
Okay,
answer, you've analyzed the situation well. It's because we've not been compact.
brilliant.
Because sometimes when we attack, five of our players stay up and don't come back to help defend. Football is about being attentive and when both attacking and defending. And this is something that we have not been doing well. Okay.
That's it.
So they asked him
Well,
about why Giroud has not scored for 4 months. Um, but I want to go to this interesting question here. Compared to last year, can you point to a moment or a match that broke the spell for the team spirit this year? Pioli's answer is it's not a spell that has been broken. It's a question of how
it's
much.
my soul. My soul has been broken. That's what he said.
Well,
Yeah.
I wish he'd said that. He said it's a question of how much we have raised our expectations. He said 5 seasons ago, finishing third in Serie A would be a positive. It's normal that after winning the title, being third is no longer seen as a positive.
You barely qualify for the Champions League,
Yeah.
and then you rock up in Europa. That's normal.
And he goes,
And well, to be honest, he's kind of correct because Napoli are doing the same thing with the way that they're playing. But anyway,
who has
sorry, just a
created?
quick one. Shout out to Christian Pazmino,
Oh yeah.
Defensive Dynamo. Nice to see you, man. I love your content. Check out Defensive Dynamo pod. It's absolutely some of the best Milan content on the web. Also, hello Renee. Thanks for joining us, man.
Oh, oh, hello. I don't see the
Also,
comments. Sorry, guys.
just a quick one. So Christian Pazmino, right, has a good theory about what's going to happen tonight. It's going to go 0-0, and it's going to go to penalties, and Magic Mike is going to score the winning goal.
So,
That would make sense.
so the word in Italy is that Mike is not starting.
Really?
Yeah, that's the rumor. Yeah,
Why?
he's playing a third team. That's the rumor. I hope they're all wrong. I hope he does come out with a strong squad. But
Sportiello's still injured, right?
yeah, Mirante.
Oh,
Hey, let's hope let's hope everything being spoken about is wrong. But that's the rumor. Yeah.
it's a, so. This is the thing. So people, include myself, did complain about Pioli that he didn't experiment. So I mean, look, I can't really say anything now because he's experimenting a bit.
Oh well, the rumor is that Cagliari are also going to go very very experimental. So it could be.
Ah, but Callier, like even their first team is
Yeah.
experimental at this stage. You see their form in
Yeah, yeah. No, no,
like,
no, no, no. Well, I know. Ranieri is, unfortunately, I like the guy, I really do, after what he did for
I do,
Italian
I
football.
do.
But yeah, okay. So let's see here.
Very true, Nathan. That's really what I want to see. It's like not as many as possible, as in like stocking, nearly the full team with like Primavera players. So Nathan has said, I'd rather we use as many Primavera players as possible. No point in using any primary players. I agree. Yeah, especially some of the ones that have gotten game time.
So the rumor is that that is exactly what's going to happen. Is we're playing at least three Primavera players in the starting lineup.
So there's going to be who? Simic. There's going to be
Zeroli's going to start
okay.
apparently.
That's a good one. I like that.
There's another defender that I forgot who might get a start.
It's not Bart
I don't know if Bartasaghi
Bartazaghi.
plays. Apparently, so the rumor is that.
Oh no, wait! It's the guy from Real Madrid, the kid. It's the kid that we loaned from Real Madrid that everyone's talking about. Jimenez, Alex
It
Jimenez.
might. It might be. It might be.
I'm sure. Yeah, I know that's coming back to me now because I remember his name getting spread around quite a bit.
Yeah.
So that's yeah, that's okay. I'm excited to. Oh, okay. Bartazaghi's recovering from the flu. I'm okay. I'm really excited to see Jimenez because there's a lot of talk about that
Well,
kid.
as I said, the talk was that Milan is really going to go very experimental tonight with the lineup. Jovic is going to start apparently, and The one thing that was a bit odd suggested was that Theo would still be a centre back. Bit
Yeah,
odd.
that's it is a bit
But
odd.
we'll see. We'll
Like,
see
I
closer
mean,
to the time. We have to see the official lineups for that. Um,
that's it.
so
Krunic in goal. Wait for
you've got to hear
the
this.
ultimate
I just
prediction.
wanted to read out his post Sassuolo comments, okay? Because they're very quick.
Okay.
Pioli said post Sassuolo, I thought that we played the game well in the first half. Second half, not so much, but we conceded very little. This is how we should interpret the games. I took off Benacer because he couldn't play anymore. He didn't have any more minutes in him. Loftus Cheek has some physical difficulty and was tired, so I had to take him off. So I hope he hasn't picked up an injury, right? We had also got a good chance with Chucky, so we wouldn't have had to suffer so much in the last few minutes. Victories where you suffer sometimes can help you get stronger. Theo has shown great determination at centre back. Let's see if when he gets back to left back, he does the same. It seems to be like a bit of a pointed comment there. He has everything to
Yeah.
be a great champion. So he described how his physique and everything else is perfect for him to become a great champion. To me, Pulisic is a great player. He's always reliable and works great, and he's contributing so much to the team. So that's a summary of his post-game comments. Um, Interesting that he thought we played the first half well, which I actually thought the exact opposite. But okay,
No, like I can see what he's. So I think in the first half we were, I think, less sloppy. But the thing is that makes sense in the context of how our season is gone
mm,
because it just shows that the players are super fatigued. I think, ironically, we weren't really very good in the second half. It's just we had that extra bit of quality
yeah,
of like Pulisic is, I mean, it's great to see him play a lot of times, because okay, I think people are, I was very shocked and absolutely disappointed, to be honest,
that Leao
at
got booed,
a
right?
section of that Leo got
Yeah,
booed. That is very, very, like, he's just coming back after an injury, right? I can understand where they're coming from. That sometimes he does look like he checks out, but I don't believe that that is actually him being checked out. I think it's just more of that's the way that he is.
mm,
He just flows as opposed to, you know, him being necessarily checked out. I don't see that. I just think he's a person who's, he tends to take things in his stride a bit, and that can come across as
yeah.
disinterested. But I dare say once he's back to full fitness, he'll be like destroying people again.
Yeah. I mean, some things are missed with Rafa. After the game, he did come out on social media and say that he said that we're just gonna 2024. We're gonna just it's gonna be me against myself again. Something's not quite right with him.
Nathan, I agree totally on the Lupo Nava going in goal because, as far as I'm aware, he is wearing the jersey number 69. So I think just for pure meme value, that has to happen.
Um, I think the game tonight is going to be just for the lineup. The game tonight should be quite interesting. To who we see.
This is so. Just one quick question before we get into the next
Yeah.
section. So Christian Pazmino, should we recall our lone players? CDK, Origi. Oh no,
Well,
I'm
I think
getting
on Origi.
PTSD. Messias, Ballatore, and
Yeah,
Salad.
Jesus. On Origi, who's probably the worst of all of them.
Yeah,
Forest have no intention of keeping him. They are
that's the quality of the player.
yeah,
Yeah.
they have no intention of keeping the guy. So that's going to be a big problem for us, I think. On CDK, I mean, okay, if you want to bring CDK back, the problem is he just doesn't seem to work well in that with Pioli. Um, I don't even know what
Yeah.
Messias has been up to very much.
No, no, I haven't either, actually, to be honest. Like Ballatore, I can't even remember. Where did Ballatore go?
Where did Ballatore go? Yeah, does anybody know where Ballatore went? I don't know where Ballatore went. Nor do I care. Oh,
No, no, but I can't remember. Somewhere in France, I want to
did
say.
he? Okay.
Nice or somewhere
Well,
like
if he
that.
comes back, he'll be sitting on the bench. There's no way in the world he's gonna.
Oh, no, and the thing
Oh,
is, I
Pioli
just
might
with
put him on in
Ballatore,
front
it's
of
just,
Bartasagi and Jose.
yeah, the problem is with Ballatore, it's like he's a very average player, right? But when, when you had to come in and take over from Teo, who, it's such a step down. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like that's the
yeah, yeah.
problem. Like it's such a step down. Like, and I think that was part of the issue there. He's just, yeah, he's not a quality player, but just it's such a step down when it comes to Teo.
No, shame about Bartasagi recovering from the flu. Thanks, Nathan, for telling us that. Yeah.
We need players because Milan, Milan labs are going for
Yeah,
kills.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's part of the discussion of, yeah, put some respect on his name. We've got to put
True.
some point about the discussion is Milan Lab and the fitness coach and the sports trainer. One of the options that Pioli was given was to get rid of all of them, and he's not taking it.
Nathan Origi's a European Champions League winner.
Yeah, great. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Oh, Jesus. All right, all right. Are we ready for the next segment?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay, guys. No, we are rushing into that one, that bombshell. So when you think about it, and if I remember properly, I think Origi was like
Fulham.
fairly responsible for them actually winning the damn thing that year.
So Balotelli is a Fulham. Fulham.
Is it
I wonder
Fulham?
if he's actually playing because they just beat Arsenal, didn't they?
Prestigious club, Fulham.
Yeah, they
I
just beat
don't,
Arsenal.
they're obviously still in the Premier League, are they? That tells you how much I watch the Premier League.
Dude,
But
talking
anyway,
about betting, Arsenal lost me a bit of money on that game. Bloody hell.
that's it. That's it.
Um,
That's a nice segue to what we're going to
that
talk
is a
about
nice
now, then.
segue again. What's going on here? We're not meaning to do this. It's a complete accident.
Exactly. It's almost like we know what we're doing.
No, Balotelli wasn't starting, and he never came on looking at this. Fodo Balotelli on the bench. Yeah, okay. Right. Okay. So the next segment, match betting special. So this is, as Shane indicated, a few people want to know how is it that I appear to be placing so many bets all the time? And so I'm going to just explain something that I do called match betting. I'm going to do a screen share. And please tell me if you can see this. Yes? Can you see this?
And yeah,
Yes.
go for it.
Perfect. So before talking about matched betting, I just want to say I have worked in the gambling industry for a few years. I have seen the best and the worst of it. And because of that, I feel that that's basically made me very I actually hate gambling. You might not believe that, but I actually hate gambling. So what I'm doing is utilizing a method of taking money from betting companies, which is actually not betting. It's based on maths. So I'm just going to explain it briefly. So one thing I want to say, gambling is addictive. I've seen it too many times to say that it's not. And if you recognize yourself as having an addictive personality, please do not even attempt matched betting.
Which is
We are
why I
not,
do not gamble.
Shane,
ever.
yes, we do not condone gambling, okay? The other thing I want to say is know the tax laws in your country regarding income from betting. So in the UK, betting is tax free, but that's not necessarily the case in other countries, okay? To do match betting, you need absolute discipline. The temptation in this is how the companies get you. Once I start explaining this, you will understand a little bit better if you've not heard of matched betting before. But discipline is utmost when doing it. And mistakes that you can do when pressing the wrong selection in doing match betting, because sometimes you're dealing with really big numbers, can be extremely expensive. So for me, I'm lucky. The maximum mistake I've ever lost is probably £20, but some of my bets have been in the hundreds, and thankfully I didn't make mistakes in those times, but it can be very, very risky. Okay. So let's go to the next slide. Okay. So what is matched betting exactly? Now, I want to highlight something like this. So this is a company, it's called Bet365 here in the UK. And what they say to you to kind of lure you into becoming a customer is they'll say, bet £10, register for an account, bet £10, and we will give you £30 of free bets. So if you just stand back and look at it, you think, okay, so you're asking me to risk £10 to get back £30 in free bets to risk again. That, if you're not a gambler, you're like, that's absolutely awful idea, because I could potentially lose all of it anyway. It's exactly what they want you to do, right? They want you to bet the £10. Even better, let's say you win from your first £10 bet. You think you're a winner, and then you go ahead and you continue gambling, and they've got you. You've registered your account. You then are liable to start losing your money, right? Actually, what matched betting does is you go back to that question. Am I risking £10 to get £30 of free bets? That's what the offer appeared to be. The answer to match betting is no. With matched betting, you reduce the loss from the first £10 bet so you can get the free bets. And this is where I have to introduce you to two concepts: a betting company and a betting exchange. So a betting company is a traditional company that probably all of you will be familiar with. It's those companies where you just say, I want to put money on that horse to win the race, or I want to put money on Milan to win the game, and they'll give you odds. And then if you win, you'll get the stake, the amount that you put in, and then you'll get your extra money back, okay? Now, what is a betting exchange? A betting exchange can be seen as a peer-to-peer kind of a place where you can basically bet against other gamblers. So you're literally against another person or another group of people. So one is against a company and the other one is a group of people. And what you can do using these two systems, these two entities, you can place a bet for a betting company and make it fight against a bet in the betting exchange. So literally, no matter what the result, you always win. So I'll give you this example, okay? We've got a game here of Rangers against Kilmarnock, which kicked off today at 3 o'clock. Before the match started, Rangers had odds of 1.22. So if you put £1, you would win 22 pence. And then you've got it here on the betting exchange, and I'm just going to use my pen here and highlight this, 1.23, okay? So what a matched betting does...
Oh, interestingly enough,
Yes.
I think for some reason now the pen isn't working.
Okay.
Interesting.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
That's a real shame. So I'll have to do it verbally then, Shane. Okay, so you go into a calculator and you're going back to the offer, £10 offer. So you put £10 of your money, you put into the calculator, you back the odd for Rangers to win at 1.22, and then the betting exchange is at 1.23. That's called laying a bet. One is called backing a bet, the other is called laying a bet. Crucially, guys, backing a bet is saying I want Rangers to win. Laying a bet means I want Rangers not to win. That means you're covering both Rangers to lose and a draw in the game. So no matter what the result, that outcome will come true. You either win from one company or the other. So using this system with a £10 bet, if you put it into this calculator, and these calculators are freely available online, you literally put £10 on your Bet365 account, and then you put £9.92 into your betting exchange company. And overall, what you will do is, no matter what the result, you will only lose 8p. But what that does, it releases that £30 on free bets. And that is what we are after. So when the match finishes, the betting company will say, thank you. You have now placed your £10 bet. Here's your £30 of free bets. You now have £30 of free bets. Now, this is not money that you can just pull out of the account. It's way too easy to do that. Generally, the rule with these betting companies is that you need to gamble it before that amount is given to you. And also, the £30 is called a free bet, which means that unlike when you put £10 of your own money in, that £30 is not seen as your own money. It is seen as a free bet. So the betting stake is not returned. So the best example I can give you, if you, for example, you put a £10 bet on a football game at 2-1 odds, on a normal bet, you would get back £20. That would be £10 of your winnings plus £10 that you put in. On a free bet, you would get back only £10. That is because the first £10 is a free bet, so it doesn't count towards your overall amount. Now, how do you turn this £30 of free bet into actual cash that you can pull out of the account? And I'll give you an example from tonight's game. If I look at a betting company, Cagliari is odds of 5.5-1. And I know this because I've been doing this for years. And so I know what odds are very good for turning free bets to cash. And so Cagliari are 5.5-1. And on the betting exchange, the actual number is 6.2-1. So that means I cover Cagliari to win on the betting company. And then I cover Cagliari not to win in the betting exchange company. So I have now covered all possible results. You go back to your calculator and you put in that it's a free bet. You change the bet type to a free bet. And you put 5.5 odds from the betting company, 6.2 from the laying company. And no matter what happens in the game tonight, you will convert that £30 of free bets into a profit of £21.77, no matter what the result. So what I'm saying here is that matched betting is not about gambling. Yeah, it's all about converting free bets into cash over time. So that's something that I want to make clear to everybody. First of all, a couple of things. How do you learn how to do match betting? There are online companies. This is how I learned 2 years ago. So one of my colleagues at work was saying he was doing matched betting, and I didn't understand him. I thought it was match, as in game football match betting.
Was his first name Sandro?
His name wasn't Sandro. If anything, he probably done. If he did matched betting, the guy would
He
be
would have been
constantly
all right.
winning.
Yeah.
And Fagioli would also be constantly winning. This is the other thing: is you always make money from match betting. You as long as you learn the rules, you learn the foundations. And the reason I've been doing this for several years, I can place a matched bet in probably less than 2 minutes, Shane. So the way this system works is like this. Every single betting company is going to try and lure people in to become a customer, because that's how they get gambling addicts. For every one of me, there's probably 10,000 people who will get addicted.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why I said I don't teach this to people because I know that some people have addictive personalities. Even some of my best friends have addictive personalities, and so you could get into it and suddenly you get lost.
Yeah.
Yeah. But for me, I'll give you an example. I, at the peak, I had something like 30, 40 betting accounts. Each one of them was giving me an offer of bet £5, we'll give you 20. Bet £10, we'll give you 30. And I converted each and every single one of them into cash.
Yeah.
Right. Having done that, this is the other thing that you've got to be careful of. Betting companies don't want winners. They hate winners. So if you happen to win with your qualifying bet and your matched bet, if you just, because it's random, right? It's random, Shane. You can, Cagliari could win tonight. If I put £30 on Cagliari to win with the betting company at an odds of 5.5-1, we're talking about in excess of £150 that I would be pulling out of them. That company would be liable to say, you're now a winner, get out. And it's within their right to block you. So I have been banned from about 95% of betting companies, and I
Uh,
won't say which ones haven't banned me, um,
allegedly, this is only for
because
entertainment purposes
this
only.
is only for entertainment purposes. But the reason I've been banned is because I am labeled as a winner, as a winning customer.
Hmm.
And they don't want people who are doing this type of betting. It's completely legal in the UK. I'm going to say it again, in the UK. Your jurisdictions, I cannot say anything about.
Hmm.
And you're also right here. Tax laws, they're only if you disclose your winnings. Absolutely right, Shane. And only if you win.
Always pay your taxes.
Uh, but yeah, so I've been banned from about. Um, uh,
We ban Jerry
yeah,
from
wish I could
Milan.
ban Jerry. I
I
wish I
think he's
could
going to
teach
ban himself, Christian,
it
at this point.
exactly. I wish I could teach Jerry how to do
Man's
this,
got
and
no
he'd
money.
do it incorrectly.
Yeah.
I'll leave some details out. Um, but yeah, so some people were asking me, how is it that I'm able to um, generate these free bets, and that is how I do it. The other thing that I've got an option of now, I have. I'll give you an example. Actually, from last night's game, there was a Liverpool v Newcastle game, and I got an offer, Shane, which was bet £10, you get £5 for every single goal scored, up to a maximum of £25 of free bets. That game was a goal fest. It's a Premiership game. It's a goal fest. It
Hmm.
generated a full £25 of free bets. Now I have an option. Do I use match betting and convert that to cash, or do I use that money to place a bet tonight if I want to do, right? And
I
this is the
think
option that I have available to me. I'm constantly generating free bets
the
so that I'm
only
able to use them as I wish.
the
It's
only
not my
logical
money.
thing you can do, right,
Mm.
is use an unregistered like gambling broker, that Fagioli or whatever his name is, and then get yourself sold to Newcastle completely
Exactly.
coincidentally for 70 million. That's the only. This is the way it works, man.
This is why when that story broke out, Shane, I was
Hmm.
so interested in it because I was curious who the hell uses unregistered betting company. I didn't know they existed, dude.
Very rich people.
Very rich people. But
Hmm.
you can and the thing I was asked, Husney, so clearly not a gambler, bless his soul,
Hmm.
because he said to me, "Why would you not use a second person to do the betting for you as a proxy?" What is wrong with Fabio? Fabio, you've been drinking, mate. You've been drinking, son. Uh, you know, Husney said, "Why don't you use a second person to do the betting for you?" I said, "No, that's the point of a gambler. They are the ones that want to feel that buzz." So, when they said Tonali was betting on tennis, do you know
Yeah.
why? It's
Go on.
because you can bet on every single point as it's being played.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So it's a constant, oh, next point, next point, next point, next point,
Free
like that.
dopamine, free dopamine, free dopamine. Oh shit, I've
There,
lost 10
there.
million. Free
You've got
dopamine.
it.
Great.
You've got it. Like
Oh my
for
God.
this is pure maths. What I'm doing is pure maths. Yeah. Fabio's on form tonight, man. I'll tell you, he gambles when he goes to the strip club. So I just wanted to make clear, guys, I am not a gambler. In fact, there's a term that match betting people use for individuals that do normal betting. That's called mug betting because those are bets that can potentially be lost. Yeah.
Interesting.
We use maths to completely prevent the likelihood of loss. However, it takes a lot of training because you have to understand numbers. So I know the ratios that I need to look for in games. Um, Maths, yeah,
Maths.
exactly. Um, and also because I'm interested in this kind of stuff, so I can exploit it. But
Hmm.
equally, as I've said, Shane, I have been banned from a lot of companies because I've been labelled as a winning punter, and
Yeah.
they don't like that. And that is the right that they have. Uh, Several companies said, and that's a small change. As I said, there are some companies that give you even bigger deals, but you make one mistake when
You're toast.
selecting,
Blow up your account.
you make one mistake, you will blow up your account. And so, um, yeah, just if anyone's got questions, fire away in the chat if you wanna, or in the video.
And why you should not do this. You lose. Okay.
What is
That's
wrong
yeah.
with him, man?
We'll just become degenerates next week and
Yeah,
put on
yeah.
very suggestive like thumbnails and just have a couple of girls dancing in the background because why not?
Unbelievable. Mate, betting tips. Puh,
The
puh, puh, puh.
tips. You're here for the betting tips, right? Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Anyway,
Anyway, so I think that's pretty much it. What do you think about the game tonight, Shane? What do you reckon we'll do with this experimental side?
yeah. I mean, to say that Cagliari are as low as they are, right, in the Serie A, and they're not even putting out a full strength squad. I mean, yeah, I agree with what the guys were saying earlier. It's see, 13 is considered good luck. It's considered something. If I
Unbelievable.
seen that, I wouldn't be considering a good luck. I'd be considering, oh my God, Chernobyl or something.
1-0 win.
Um, yeah,
Parlays. Nathan, I don't touch
probably.
parlays because the ratios and the numbers become way
Yeah.
worse when you compare a betting company against a betting exchange.
What are
Uh,
parlays?
so it's an American term for accumulators.
Oh, it's accumulator. Oh, right. Okay. So accumulator. Oh, yeah. That's like the best way
It's
to like.
sad that I know all of this, isn't it? It just
Uh,
tells you
no, but I
it's
was wondering
because
what it was.
yeah. Pioli
Pioli's
is gambling on a copper
gambling for
cup.
his job,
Fabio,
Fabio. He's
Pioli, Pioli really doesn't care. He gets his 4.5 million no matter what happens. That's what I think.
exactly. Bro's
Yeah,
full on degenerate, man. He doesn't give a toss at this point. At this point,
yeah, yeah. I think it will be a surprise. I think if the Italian press is correct, we will have Jovic up front, we'll have three experimental kids, and we'll have Mirante in goal.
should be enough.
That's it.
It should
Uh,
be enough.
it should still be enough. Yeah, yeah. And
Jesus Christ. No, excuse language. That's a lot of money. No,
yeah,
when
no,
I see anything over like two figures mentioned in betting, I'm like, please don't. Please don't.
yeah. No. As I said, I've got 25 in free bets for tonight that I can use. I could put it on things, but I probably am going to use I keep using my match betting because I'd rather convert it into cash and take
That's
the
it.
cash.
Should be enough. Should be is the main word to use. Yeah. Just like we should have had enough quality to beat Salernitana. And who else have we screwed up to? It's like so far this season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
No.
reckon we'll win it. I'm going to give a guess, Shane, that I think we do it 2-0.
Nathan, you're going full degen, man. You're going full degenerate.
Yeah, that is
No,
yeah.
kudos. It's good that you won.
Serious gamblers, I don't. Yeah, that's a different world. That's a different realm, Nathan. You see. Um,
They shouldn't be allowing
yeah,
you to
yeah,
gamble,
okay.
Fabio.
No, it's
That's
interesting
it.
to hear. 'Cause this is what I was saying, Shane. Is that
Mm.
when you talk to people, right? Normal betting is actually really, really common, and a lot of
Mm.
people, even when I was younger, what I used to do is put like a pound on what these guys call a parlay, which
Oh
we
yeah,
used to get like a big A4 size sheet with all the matches,
and
and
then
you
you
used to
just
tick off what you thought the results would be, and every now and then you'd win something and so on.
oh, I get it, but you know yourself. It's kind of just for me though personally. I do have a very addictive personality, so
Yes,
just
exactly,
I'm like no, I
exactly,
can't. It
exactly.
even I'm afraid of gambling to be honest of any form.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
gambled like twice, and that was like was it so both of the Champions League finals in the 2000s. So obviously
Yes,
for Milan to win, because that
yeah.
for me it just made it extra exciting, because but that's the only time I've done it. Do you know what? I really okay. One of the guys said it earlier. Do you know what? And just to be a bit of a fool, I'm actually going to go with this one. So it's going to go to penalties, and Moynihan is, or not Moynihan, but what's his
Mirante.
name? Morante is going to score the winning penalty.
Wow. I
Chalk.
don't really understand why Manana's not playing, by the way.
Ah, will he get tired?
No, for what?
I
For
know,
being
but
another centre back.
no, it's yeah. Like this is kind of. I will say this though, guys, as well. Keep in mind that a lot of people were complaining that Pioli didn't rotate and experiment enough. So now we're going to see tonight if this is a good idea or not.
Yes, we will. We will see
Right?
it, man. We will see it. I hope the Italian media is right because I think that would be quite a nice thing to watch. Um,
Yeah. No, I'm with you, Vince. I couldn't, unless it's like a Champions League final and Milan are in it, I'll put like a fiver or tenner down. And then
Vince,
that's about it.
Vince, you know something? You know something? So now that you've understood, now that you guys, if you guys watch, if you didn't watch the whole episode, now that you guys understand how I generate these free bets, you will also understand why it doesn't hurt me as much to put a bit of money on Milan to draw or to lose. It really doesn't hurt me as much because from the qualifying bet, I've only
You've
lost a couple of
benefited.
pennies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah. No, Nathan, I don't do any of that stuff. I work purely on maths and ratios. Um, but my winnings obviously are nowhere near as big as actual bets, right?
Yeah. Because you probably get like taken out of circulation. In other words, they'll kill your account before it started getting like too serious and you're generating
Do you know something? I
information.
actually take it as a kind of badge of pride, the fact that I have been banned from so many companies.
Yeah.
Because that's a good thing.
It is, right? Yeah. Because at the end of the day, you don't see any broke bookkeepers, right? Or gambling shops, whatever.
No. It's all online. Actually, everything I've
Bookmakers,
done
I
has
should
been
say.
online.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bookmakers, yeah. It's all been online. Actually, Milan both team to score is a decent thing.
One
It's
hundred percent, Nathan. Because
interesting
you,
to
you know
see. I
that
think
well. Yeah. You
this is
know that
why
well.
we've been getting a few requests. There's quite a few people that do a little bit of side
And see,
betting.
yeah, I'm surprised at it as well. Yeah. Because I always thought, I don't know. I mean, okay, I guess it follows. But yeah, no, it's
It does
interesting.
follow, man, because it's as I said, for me, I have the choice. Once the free bet is generated, I have the choice of either turning it to cash using my usual method, or actually, as you guys call it, gambling it. But it's a free bet. So for me to have
Yeah.
gotten it, I hardly lose anything. The difference is a real bet is a risk, is a real risk of your money.
That's
And
it.
I never condone that. And
Yeah.
I never will.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's why Tonali seriously got down in your
Good
estimation.
discussion, though. I'm really glad that all these guys are on here and they're telling us about what they did. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah.
But just again, just to like let everyone know, we do not advise gambling in any shape or form. But if you were to do it, always make sure that you declare the full amount that you want to your local tax person, because that's important.
Yes, you must and know your local tax rules if you are
That's
a
it.
winner or because I know from what I understand in the UK you see betting used to be taxed and then they changed the law and probably now it's crazy. It's like you can win the lottery basically you're not taxed on it because it's
It's
called
crazy. Like,
and matched betting, despite the fact that it's quite clearly a mathematical model, is still considered betting, a Shane,
yeah,
because you can make a mistake.
yeah,
You can get absolutely shafted if you make a mistake. So,
yeah.
my scariest ones were ones where I had a horse. During COVID, Shane, that was really scary because matches would be randomly called off. That was pretty nerve wracking because then you kind of think, are you going to give me my money back if the game is called off or not? Yeah, the new stadium. Christian, so on that point, I don't think the stadium project is in any way a priority. Um, yeah, for Cardinale. I think Cardinale's priority is to get the F out.
Yeah,
That is
it's
their
the writing's on
priorities.
the wall there. I think, especially with this growth decree business, I think he's just going to say, okay, look, this isn't going to, you know, because God help us if Cardinale does stay in charge.
Hmm.
Like, keep in mind that we seem to be kind of built now just to go into the Europa League. So you can imagine how it's going to decrease our aims as a club when we can't even depend on the growth decree to bring in some, potentially great players or good
Yeah,
players.
I,
So,
I I kind of foresee that if Cardinale stays, we're selling assets in the summer to make the budget for the transfer window. Um,
yeah, no, I
yeah.
don't like it.
No,
All
I
right.
don't like it either. Yeah.
All right,
Cool.
guys. Screw it. Oh, an hour and 15.
Yeah, no, thank you all for joining us. It was really good fun, actually. And I find it really interesting to hear about what you guys are doing. And clearly, there was a call for.
Degenerates.
There was. You know something, man. Shane, you look like you're smoking a massive cigar, mate.
Oh no, it's a force of habit now because I enjoy a cigar every now and then, and so it's just I've gotten so used to holding it like this now. It's kind of like yeah.
Fabio, I'm not showing you any
So
tips.
PG 13. If you want
Yeah.
to see it, if you want to see a TIT, right? Bring up just Google search for Lanny.
Oh, very good.
Just
Love
good
it.
look at his face. Sorry if you need to
Absolutely
see a
love it.
pair of those. Anyway,
All right, guys. Thank you for
well,
joining. Happy New Year, everyone. I hope that this year is going to be a much better one for us. And maybe drop a comment on what you'd like to see in future episodes. Right?
please
What we're
do.
gonna try and do now is to change our thumbnails, just so everyone knows. We have in previous episodes gone into quite detail on some really important things that are happening to the league,
And we've
and
realized we didn't number the episodes, so we can't
we didn't
remember
number
what
the episode. So
episode we're
we're
referring
going to
to.
change the
Yeah, we'll
thumbnail
go
so that
through that.
everyone can just scroll through and go to what they want to see.
Yeah.
So I hope you like that change that's coming, and we're hoping to have more guests in the future to talk about specific subjects as well. So um, cool. Well, happy New Year, everyone, and Forza Milan. Let's hope we win tonight. Um,
Let's do
I
it.
have. What does Fabio want to see? Yeah, I don't know what Fabio wants to see in future episodes.
It's not PG 13. Like
Okay.
I know where Fabio's going. No, no. Okay, guys, look, I gotta get something to eat. I'm
Yeah.
starved. But thanks very much everyone for joining. Love the engagement. Love you all. I hope you had a good Christmas and I hope you have a great, great, great new year. From the bottom of my heart, thank you everyone for joining. I respect and love you so much. Thank you.
Awesome. Ciao, everyone.
See you.
Italia!